Sixth grade, I started wrestling in tournaments over in Oklahoma and stuff around that. You know, once you get in the bigger stage and there's a little bit more pressure, even as a child, you know, you either have to up your game because you realize, you know, people are getting better and there's more. You know, when your dad's paying for you as a child to go across the country, you know, you're supposed to do well. I would say, you know, the pressure as a child was definitely more put on by yourself. My dad was, you know, very supportive. You know, he took me to practice. He drove me all over the state. You know, I switched wrestling clubs a bunch of times to try and find the best partners. You know, yeah, I definitely wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the encouragement of my father, for sure. Within probably, I would say, 2 weeks of being at the gym, just, you know, from starting to learn striking and just being a pure wrestler in there, and me, at the time I was 15 years old, and I was wrestling around with 25 to 30-year-old men, and I was winning, and I liked that feeling. You know, I liked being a child coming into a gym full of grown men and winning, and it made me feel good inside. You know, I decided pretty fast that it was going to be something I wanted to do. See, I really thought that wrestling definitely would have prepared me. You know, I thought, you know, my mindset going into that fight was, yeah, I'm fighting someone older, but you know, I've been at a lot bigger stage than this guy has ever been. He, you know, maybe he's older than me, but I know he hasn't been in training as long as I have. I've wrestled in front of way more people than this. But I mean, it's different when the worst thing that can happen to you is you get pinned, and the worst thing that can happen to you is you get knocked out and get hurt. And it was definitely, I thought I was prepared, and walking in that thing, man, there's nothing like a first experience like that. I couldn't explain it to anybody. A lot of me is music, man. I have music, you know, on fight day when I wake up, I have music in my ears. You know, it's not necessarily, it's to drown everything out and to keep me focused. And when I get to the fights now, I don't necessarily listen to, you know, jams, screamo, blah, blah. I've actually found, you know, that I listen to calming music now. I listen to dubstep and I listen to stuff like that, it keeps your mind going, but then again, it keeps your mind calm. And, you know, now when I go into the cage, I step into the cage and I have a mindset, you know, I think of MMA fighters as modern day gladiators, and that's exactly what we are. We step into the cage and you're in front of it's basically a human cockfight, and that's the way you look at it. If you look at it any different, you're not going to win, you're going to get hurt. And being a young kid and knowing that I want to have a future in this sport, I go out there with a vengeance. And when that door closed, you know, if the ref didn't pull me off, I would probably punch that guy until he died. That's the type of person I am, and in this sport, if you want to get to the top level, you have to have that. I consider my MMA season from when the NCAA's is over in March till the last day in August. I consider that's my MMA. That's when I full 100%. I'm training MMA every day. I'm still wrestling at least 3 times a week, but you know, MMA is definitely priority. With already having 14 fights, you know, there's not really I have 5 belts in Michigan. There's not really a lot for me to conquer left in Michigan, and yeah, I definitely have to keep taking fights to, you know, keep my skill sharp. And I'm probably gonna, you know, expand out, take fights as an amateur, you know, in different states and stuff. But I like where I'm at right now. You know, I'm getting the best of both worlds, Big Ten college wrestling, and I'm coming out here in the pros and I'm competing well. You know, I like where I stand, and to have 3 years to develop my skill set even more, I feel like that when I do turn professional, you know, after a couple fights, it's not going to be, you know, I'm not going to be a normal person. I'm going to be an impact player, and that's, you know, that's what I intend to be. As far as regrets, you know, I feel bad leaving a lot of my family and friends behind when I moved schools. I took 8th in the state as a sophomore for Kersley. There was only 2 people in my whole graduating class that were all-state at any time throughout high school from Kersley, and I did that. My coach quit, and I up and left. I moved an hour. I left my beautiful home, you know, my brother and my mom, and I switched schools, and then school of choice, and I ended up taking 3rd as a junior, and I was a state champion. I ended up coming out of high school 15th overall by USA Wrestling Magazine as a senior. So it definitely paid off. Do I have regrets as far as leaving people behind? Yeah, but I mean, you have to sacrifice, and you know, if you have to leave some people in the dust to get to the top, then I mean, you have to make that in your mind up, and I'm willing to do